Alrighty, the recording started and everything's merged.
Okay.
Okay. Uh, so so my first question is, what are some common ground issues that you think both sides of the aisle could agree on, so voters can kind of see that it's not all aggression from both sides?
I mean, basic, you know, we got to ensure that there's opportunity in the state. I think both sides kind of understand those values of making sure there's opportunity. We just kind of fundamentally disagree in a lot of ways of how to make sure we ensure that opportunity.
What do you think are some important issues for young people?
Making sure you have the opportunity to succeed, making sure if you're able to do whatever you need to be able to be successful in your life and not be crippled with debt and have to do things that you want to do. Just make sure that you have those opportunities to succeed, that you can you can go to school, you can have a great job, you can buy a house, you can start a family, and you don't have to worry about how you're going to make ends meet. Like I think those are the real critical factors of making sure that people buy into the system.
What do you think the importance of young people staying aware of politics and politically active is for society?
Because it's their future that it depends on. These decisions that are being made today, particularly the people in Congress, like most people in Congress are like in their 60s, 70s, and so they're really not going to live through the consequences of their actions, whether their benefits or their cost. And so it's young folks who are going to bear the burden of the decisions that are actually made today. And so if they want to actually have control over policies that are going to impact their lives as they grow up and their families as they, become workers and become full-fledged adults, then they need to be active today, because it's decisions that are made today that is going to impact what our world looks like, what our country looks like 5, 10, 15 years down the road. And so if you want to play a role in that and you want to have some control over your own destiny in terms of what our government's going to look like, you need to be involved. And you need to show up and vote, because if you don't vote and you're not involved, the politicians will not listen to you, because they respond to incentives, and their incentives is winning an election. And if you aren't involved and if you don't vote, then you sacrifice your voice, and you take away your ability to actually have a play in determining what the outcomes are going to be.
What's one thing you would want people to know about you?
Really just my dedication to, service in North Carolina, and, the fact that my entire kind of life is because I had a government that invested in me. And so, I grew up in rural North Carolina. I grew up just north of you up in Alexander County. And, if I didn't have a great public education, I wouldn't have anything. I wouldn't have any opportunities. If I didn't have a great public college, public university to go to, I wouldn't have any opportunities. And it's understanding that, having a state that invested in me opened up every single door for me. And, opportunity isn't a zero-sum game. And so I take those experiences with me every single day. And, that's why I got a PhD in economics, so I could understand the role government has on folks and making sure that we're making the right investments in our communities so that people have the opportunities that they need. And I think that is the biggest thing I wish people, understood about me, because that's how I look at public service. Look at public service of making sure the opportunities that I was blessed with are available to as many people as possible. That's how we make our state grow. That's how we make our state successful, and that's how we make our country great.
So one of the biggest responsibilities you would have if you won the race for treasurer would be running the state pension plan.
Mm-hmm.
How specifically would you want to change that, and how do you think that would benefit everyday North Carolinians maybe who aren't on that pension plan?
Yeah, so the big thing is we just aren't investing it very well at this moment in time. Like, we just have a ton of our pension plan that's sitting in cash. And so that means that we're not getting the returns that we need. We have one of the worst performing pension plans in the entire country. And that means that current retirees don't get a cost of living adjustment. As inflation rises or falls, their pension plan stays constant. And so they're losing purchasing power, which, if you're looking at, wanting to work for the state government or wanting to work for local government, the retirement plan is a big, part of that calculus of what job do you want to do. And so if you're looking at a job that once you retire, you're just fixed with that final dollar for the rest of your life, it doesn't look that attractive. And so making sure you invest the pension plan better to get those returns so you can give those cost of living adjustments is critical because, in our state, we got 100 counties, and in 61 of them, the largest employer is some government agency. And so if people aren't willing to work for the government, then we're not going to have a government that works for folks. That's the school system, that's DOT, that's DMV, that's prison guards. And so it impacts everybody in North Carolina because everybody depends on making sure that our state has quality state employees, that our local government has quality state employees. And if we can't guarantee them a great retirement, then we're not going to get the best people working for government, and you're not going to get government that works for folks. And so it is in everybody's best interest in making sure that we have a great retirement for our retirees, because that's one of the key benefits of working for government. You're never going to make top dollar working your entire career for the government, but if we can promise you great health care and a great retirement, then we can get really great people making sure that our government works for everybody. And so that's why everybody should want a treasurer that has the foresight and vision to make sure we make these great investments.
So you're a highly educated economist. So what do you think the value of having that education and having that experience is to be in the room when the economy is a major issue for a lot of voters?
It's just understanding how everything plays together, and understanding how policy choices impact the economy and the way that impacts everyday life. Because it's a difference from looking at kind of the overall economy versus how individual people are. Like, it's one of the things in North Carolina. If you look at the entire state, it looks like our economy is doing really great. But the reality is that it's really only doing very great in the big urban areas, like the Charlottes, like the Raleighs, down in Wilmington and some of the big cities. But a lot of the rural areas are behind. And so understanding the difference between what's going on in the overall level versus what's going on the local level, how that impacts politics of people who feel like they've been left behind, and why they've been left behind, and the policy choices that have chosen to leave them behind. And so I think bringing all that together is kind of one of the best things about my experience, that you can kind of take a step back and see how everything plays together. So you can talk to people about it in a way that they can understand, but then also be able to craft the policies that give them the best success.
Alrighty, thank you. That's all I've got for you. I appreciate it.
Perfect. Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
All right, have a nice day.
You too. Bye.